Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Christopher Media, let's make some noise. Welcome to Beer Nuts, a weekly excursion into the world of craft beer, brought to you by MichiganBeerGuide.com. And now, here are the Beer Nuts.
Hey, welcome to Beer Nuts, episode 155. We're going to go through some milkshake beers tonight. Milkshake IPAs, milkshake stout, milkshake smoothies, whatever your preference. So JR here in Arizona, we have a six-pack of Beer Nuts, which should be a good show. So JR, going to kick it off here, introducing myself. And my last Untapped check-in was a beer called Press Tart from Rheingeist Brewery, and it was a tart, little sour Berliner Weiss. It was pretty tasty from Rheingeist in Ohio. So we're going to go from Tucson, Arizona, now out to Los Angeles to Steve V. Welcome, Steve.
Hello, everybody. My last Untapped in was from Alpine Brewery Company, their Nelson. It was an IPA rye. Very, very tasty little beer. Good company.
All righty then. Now back to Michigan, to Uncle Pete. Welcome back to the show, Uncle Pete.
Hey, thanks, guys. Uncle Pete here. Rockwood, Michigan. It's 14 degrees tonight. Brr.
Brr.
Yeah. I went out and checked out the lights on Heinz Drive, but that was enjoyable. Anyway, my last Untapped check-in was Founders Civilized Brute IPA. Great aroma, dry as you know what. And one thing I liked was that it was in a 12-ounce can instead of a pint. I kind of like the smaller portions, but it was a great beer. Really getting off on these brutes. I don't know what it is, but I just like them a lot.
Mm-hmm. All righty then. Keeping it in Michigan, we've got Greg in Dearborn.
What's going on, everybody? Good evening. I'm 1 degree warmer than Pete. I'm at 15. Not to brag, but my last Untapped check-in was Morning Latte Imperial Coffee Milk Stout by Toppling Goliath. It was a nice little afternoon pickup of creamy chocolate coffee goodness. I really, really enjoyed it.
All righty then. And then we've got two Beer Nuts in Clawson, Michigan. Welcome, Doug and John.
Hey, this is John. So my last Untapped check-in was a Founders Kentucky Breakfast Stout Espresso, which actually was a 5-badge beer for me. I was like, whoa, that's quite a few. Really good beer, kind of like a dry English stout with big-time espresso roast and some good bourbon warmth. It's really good beer.
Yeah, it is a good beer.
Sounds great.
I've been wondering about it. Glad to hear it.
And we got Dugout. All right.
Doug.
Hello, everyone. This is Dugout, and we are live in Clawson, Michigan. Well, we won't be live when you're listening to this. It'll be recorded, but we're live now. My last Untapped... we're all live. My last Untapped check-in was a bourbon barrel-aged 1050 from Oscar Blues. Pretty decent beer, very, very thick and viscous, motor oil, a bit of harshness, so that one probably could have sat in the cellar for a couple more years. But still outstanding. Well, those all sound great, especially those last two. So again, the topic of tonight's episode, or today's, by the time you listen to this, is milkshake beers. Milkshake IPAs typically, most of the time, have a little fruit and maybe some lactose to sweeten them up, and nice creamy texture. Or there's also milkshake stouts, which are tasty and also smooth, creamy, maybe brewed with oats. But so we're going to, that was kind of a broad definition of the show, is milkshake beers. Anything that was kind of milkshake or slushy or smoothie related. So it's a nice festive time of year for a drink like that. So before we get started, as always, we'd like to invite all of our listeners to please crack open a beverage, a tasty beer. Whatever style or brewery that you prefer is just fine with us. We're not pretentious beer snobs. We're just a bunch of regular guys trying to introduce more good beers to more good people. So on that note, let's kick things off. We had a great episode last week with Matt from Tombstone, so thank you again, Matt, for joining us. But for this, the Milkshake Show, we're going to turn it over to Dugout for the first beer of the show.
Okay. I have one, well, they're semi-local, I guess. They're up in Thumb, I believe, which is Austin Brothers Brewery. out of Michigan since 2015.
Alpina. Sorry, Doug.
Farther north.
Alpina.
Alpina, yeah. It's
Farther north.
It's pretty far up there. I'll bet they're colder than we are right now. And
Probably.
actually, we're a little warmer than you guys are right now. It's warmed up a couple degrees, so it's heading your way.
I think we should head there, Pete. What do you think?
Well, I know he's got good beers, so that would be double bonus.
So, yeah, lovely Alpena, Michigan. This is listed as a New England style India Pale Ale with vanilla, lactose, and strawberry. It is at 6% alcohol for volume and 55 IBUs. And it does, it pours your typical hazy IPA. Certainly doesn't seem to be any floaties or chunks in there, which is good. The head is nice and frothy. No real lacing on it to speak of. And the nose is juicy hops and a little bit of strawberry. You don't get a whole lot of strawberry on this, but definitely notice the juiciness in the hops. I'm getting some tropical fruits, mango, stone fruit, and just a hint of strawberry on that. And then the taste is where it gets weird. I think the weirdness is in the body because of the lactose. You get sort of a milky body to it. It's I don't know. It's kind of difficult to explain. Well, it's a milkshake IPA. Yeah, the strawberry's still faint though. It's very subtle on the strawberries. I expected a little more on the strawberry end of things. It's got a little bit of a green stem flavor to it at the finish, which I found can be. Get that a whole lot in strawberry beers. Get it more with a raspberry beer. But I'm definitely getting some of that on this one. I think overall it's pretty decent beer. I think I did have it once before. It's on tap. And maybe that's the difference. And I'm not sure the age on this can either. It could have been sitting around a while. But, yeah, it's more of a summer beer, that's for sure. I definitely wouldn't be pulling these down in winter during the stout season. But these guys make some really good beer. They definitely make some really good New England styles, in my opinion. Yeah, I'd buy this again, but definitely in hot weather.
Yeah, my understanding, this whole smoothie series from Austin Brothers is really a New England style base. Then they've done the mods with the vanilla and the lactose and the fruit adds, to make them the smoothie category, kind of the subcategory of the New England.
Yeah, and I do get some of the vanilla. That vanilla just kind of creeps in there. The vanilla is nicely done. I mean, it could really overpower the beer. It's just got kind of a strange body to it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to tasting mine because it's kind of the sister beer in the same series. I got the blood orange pineapple, so I'm interested to compare notes on that.
Okay, and John just had a little bit, and he's getting more strawberry than I am. But maybe that's where I was getting the green stem, and you're getting more strawberry.
Green stem, maybe that's coming from the hops additions.
That usually comes from the fruit.
I just never heard green stem before. I'm trying to imagine what that is.
Think of a underripe strawberry, where it's got that kind of green. It's still green. It hasn't fully turned.
Yeah.
Bright red. It's a little underripened.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and as I was saying, it's more prevalent in certain raspberry and blackberry beers. You'll come across it from time to time. It's just sort of an off flavor from the addition of the fruit.
Well, it seems like a wildly popular category, I mean, I remember all summer people talking about milkshakes and smoothies and, fruit added to beers and Berliners and stuff like that. And it got real popular this year, it seems like.
Yeah, and they're still out there on the shelves. I mean, and I was up in... I was at Holiday Market. I mean, it was really loaded with a lot of the fruit gozas and the fruit fruit smoothie type beers. The 10 pounds of fruit in one glass type of thing.
One thing I'm getting from it, and I think this would explain too, is the green stem. Is how when you get a strawberry and it's got that little leafy green cap kind of right on the top. It's almost like they didn't bother picking those off. They just picked the strawberries and threw them in there with that included. So it's got that almost that very kind of fresh pick, like you walked out in the field, plucked the strawberry off and ate it just right there, and you're getting a lot of that that stem flavor and that little leaf right on the top.
All right. Well, a lot of these milkshakes have the lactose, which sweetens them up, gives them a little vanilla-y flavor. But just wanted to, before we move on to the next beer, I had to give our little Austin Brothers story from Uncle Pete and I. Took a long journey up to Alpena one time, and
long.
It's like a 4-hour drive at least from the Detroit area all the way up to Alpena. Fortunately, we had a buddy up there, a homebrew club buddy that had moved up there that we got to visit with, and he met us at Austin Brothers, and we got to the brewery, and there was a sign on the door, closed. What was it, the day? It
was Halloween.
They were closed for Halloween.
Yeah.
It was Halloween day. I don't know why they were closed. It's like the big thing up there. For some reason, they closed, and it was just a sign on the door, and they had not posted on social media. So I was pretty fired up about it and posted something on the social media like, thanks for telling us you'd be closed. We drove all this way. And the good people at Austin Brothers felt really bad about that and sent me a $50 gift card and their most humble apologies for not posting the information on their Facebook page. And as it turns out, when I moved to Arizona, I handed that off to Uncle Pete. So hopefully he'll get back there to visit. I've heard great things about their brewery, and that one experience notwithstanding, things happen and people make mistakes, and they made it right, and that's all that matters to us. So kudos to Austin Brothers, and that sounded like one of their many great beers. So I think it's time now to leave the frozen tundra of Michigan and go out to Los Angeles to Steve V for our next beer.
Yeah, it's really cold over here in LA, 55 degrees.
Oh, too bad.
I was bundled up. I was really bundled up.
We'll send you a blanket too.
Yeah, thank you. So today, my choice is out of Devil's Canyons Brewing Company. So they've been brewing since 2001, and the beer I have selected is the Orange Zest Milkshake IPA. It's a 5.5%. It says here that it is brewed with milk sugar, Azaka, and Simcoe hops. I poured this out earlier, and it's very hazy. You can't see anything through it. It's a nice pale orange color, kind of like like if you added some orange juice to some salsa water or something like that, just kind of bring it up. Kind of has that look to it. But once I poured it, the orange was just dominated it completely. Drinking it, it's no bite whatsoever. I can see how, like I said, people are getting into these. They're kind of very easygoing beers to enjoy. If you get a little fruit flavor from it. Orange, yeah, tropical, yes, but not overbearing, not sweet, not nothing that you'd say like, oh, I can only have a couple of these. Like I said, very, very nice, smooth. Doesn't have that dank taste for an IPA that you would expect, but yeah, very, very, very good fruit. Good beer. I think people would really like tasting this one. And that's what I got to say about that.
Sounded good.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah, no, it's a good beer. They do a couple stuff. I looked on their website earlier today, and they have a pawpaw version of this coming out, and they kind of describe a little more tropical flavor. But this is very, very, very mild as far as fruit flavors goes. But it still has that hey, I'm still drinking an IPA taste to it, which I like.
Alrighty then. Well, before we go back to the frozen tundra of Michigan, I'm going to slide on in over here in Tucson. Not too far from LA compared to the distance between us and Michigan. But it is a little bit more chilly here. It's probably in the low 50s, maybe high 40s. It actually got down to like 30 degrees the last couple mornings, which is for here that's like sub-zero in Michigan. So
you're running to the stores for bread and milk at that point, aren't they?
Well, that being said, I still wore shorts today. It was still about 60 degrees.
Oh, okay, all right.
The only thing close to JR for supplies is a gas station. I mean, it's pretty far to get to something substantial for JR.
They're stocked up early.
I was in Tucson today. I wanted to try to find some good beer for the show, and I found a couple, and I'm going to go with this beer. It's Decadent Ales from Boston, Massachusetts, and it's Mango Coconut Smoothie, Double India Pale Ale with mango and coconut added. It's 9.3% ABV. I had two choices. This sounds pretty tempting, so let's crack it open.
You've got a weakness for mango.
A little cartoon of a guy with a cocktail, or I don't know what it is, some kind of rodent on the front. Cartoon. So let's pour this bad boy. Got a nice 1.5-finger, 2-finger head. Sure, it's going to go down. It's hazy, but it's very light yellow, very light straw yellow. But it is very, very murky and hazy. You can see light through it, but you can't really see. I'm holding my finger on the other side of the glass, and I can't even see my finger. So definitely got that nice snow white head on it. Really nice, healthy, bubbly, fizzy head. It's sticking around pretty long here. I can definitely smell a little bit of like pina colada, like coconut and pineapple. Let's just take a sip of this. Oh yeah, so definitely like a refreshing, almost like a tropical fruit drink. Not as much coconut as I thought, which is not a bad thing because some of those real heavy coconut can taste like the aroma of like a suntan lotion. This is not that. But the coconut is there. I'm getting a little bit more pineapple and mango with the coconut just being a background, supporting ingredient. But it's really easy to drink. It's got a nice, probably light to medium mouthfeel. Nice and creamy. It's not thin, but it's not thick. It's probably, like I said, light to medium mouthfeel, and actually pretty lovely beer here. Let me just take one more sip, see if I can get anything else out of this. I think the thing that I enjoy most is that mouthfeel. It's that nice creamy milkshake mouthfeel to it, a nice, the pleasant, tropical fruit flavor, the mango pineapple, and, a little coconut in the background to make it even warmer than it already is here. For those of you in frozen Michigan, too bad you didn't have this. It might help you feel warmer. It's warming me up. And at 9.6 ABV, a double IPA, it's warming me up that way, too. I am pretty impressed, though. I can't really taste the booze in this. The only thing that makes it maybe... I know I spilled a little bit when I poured it. Some of the foam came over the glass. I can tell you it's really sticky. So it's like sticky, resinous, but really quite flavorful. And I would definitely buy this again. Might be better on a hot day, but again, it's warming me up. So there we have it.
You love your mango. You love your mango beers, man. I know that.
I do, and I like coconut too. So this is definitely a beer I would seek out again. Decadent Ales, Boston, mango coconut smoothie.
That's kind of a high ABV, it seems, for the style too. So that's
yeah. That's not a bad thing. Oh, you know what? I was wrong. 9.3, not 9.6.
Oh,
like it matters, right?
Way off.
Plus, I just took a couple pretty big sips of this and poured the rest of the can in my glass, so it's going down pretty good. So I'm going to kick back, and if I had an umbrella, I'd put it in this beer because it's almost like a little cocktail. And I don't think anybody else has had this, so let's pass it on back to frigid Michigan with Uncle Pete.
All right.
Well, those decadent beers, I reviewed one, and it was their French toast, and it was very good, very interesting. Like it says, that's their thing. Decadent, they love that flavor, and I don't know why they try to hide the taste of the beer, but they love having that sweetness and all that stuff. So that's their jam.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I'm really enjoying it. Now, when I was at the beer store today, I saw several other tempting offerings from them. I think the next time I go back, I might pick up more than one of some of the others and see what this brewery's about.
Decadent is not shy about their price points either. I've seen single 16-ounce cans in over the $7 range.
Oh my goodness,
those guys. So yeah, $25 a 4-pack sort of range. So they must spare no expense on the ingredients, but it's definitely handed down to the consumer on those beers.
I believe they're part of 12% LLC, Mount Vernon, New York. I believe that's the same company that does Evil Twin. Am I right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
So I think
right.
a lot of markets, there are like extra layers of purveyors that you have to go through, and that may be why the price point's higher. But you know what? I bought this as a single, and I didn't even look at the price. I don't remember what it was. I needed a beer for the show. It looked interesting, and fortunately, I didn't really care about the price and picked it up and bought a few other things. And I don't even know what I paid for it, but I can tell you right now, I would buy it again because it's outstanding. It really is perfect for this for the show too.
ChristopherMedia.net.
This podcast is brought to you by Ragu Old World Style Traditional Sauce. A great sauce starts with the best ingredients. Ragu Old World Style Traditional Sauce is that great sauce. Inspired by our founder's original recipe, Ragu Old World Style Traditional Sauce is made with delicious ingredients, including vine-ripened tomatoes, chopped onions, garlic, and olive oil, simmered together for the authentic taste you and your family will want to come back to. For recipes, sauces, and mealtime inspiration, visit ragu.com.
All right, I'll turn it over to you, Uncle Pete. You must be thirsty by now.
Oh, yeah. I'm just sitting here watching this after I poured it. The aroma kicked me right in the head right off the bat. I mean, this is a Austin Brothers, same brewery that Dugout reviewed. Also from their smoothie series, it's the Blood Orange Pineapple Smoothie IPA. It's the New England style India Pale Ale with vanilla, blood orange, pineapple, and lactose, otherwise known. Now, Mrs. Uncle Pete really loves pineapple. She's always buying it at the store, the whole fruit. And I like pineapple, but I can't sit down and eat, a couple of big rings of pineapple. It's just too acidic for me. And, I can have it in small amounts, but I think it's just, it gets to me if I eat too much. But that being said, in regards to pineapple and the acidity, my expectation for this beer is going to be that the vanilla and the lactose, the sweet, unfermentable milk sugar, will offset that acidity. So make this nice and balanced. But this poured very murky, yellowish brown, very light color. Definitely can't see through it. Like JR said, when you hold up the glass, you can't see your hand on the other side. Nice frothy head, very aromatic. Definitely smells of citrus and pineapple. A little bit of hop or piney, a hop aroma in there. Wow, boy, is that different. I'll tell you, it's got a very light body to it. It's not really slick and syrupy, but it has a very smooth, velvety mouthfeel. It's not a heavy beer on the mouth by any means, but the flavor is a very rich, I get vanilla, a lot of vanilla creaminess, sugary sweet, definitely citrusy. It's just, I can't describe it. Like Dugout was saying, this mouthfeel and the effect of all of these ingredients, making it a milkshake beer, is a really interesting combination. It's not unpleasing in any way. It's just way different than most beers you've ever tried to taste, I think. Makes me want to keep tasting more of it so I can pin that down. Mild on the pineapple. It's not real acidic at all. And I can really appreciate the fact that it's, juicy, creamy, smooth, sweet. The vanilla really makes it, nice and smooth and creamy in your mouth. So very interesting beer. I'd recommend it. At least try them. If you haven't ever tried a Smoothie IPA, there's, I'm sure, hundreds, if not thousands, of different ones out there on the market based on all the different kinds of fruit and fruit combinations that you can come up with. I haven't had many of these at all. Can't say that I've searched them out, on purpose, other than picking one up for the show. But it's a good beer. And like they said, Austin Brothers does a good job with their beers. I've heard they've got good food up there at the brewery too, and which when I do get back there to spend that gift card that JR passed to me, I'd like to try some food along with the beers. So thumbs up, Austin Brothers, Blood Orange Pineapple Smoothie IPA. Good job. And who's up?
Anybody else have any comments? If not, we are going to Dearborn, Michigan to Greg, where it's 1 degree warmer.
I got to check to make sure that's still true. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay. All right. All right. So my beer, and thanks, Pete. That was a delicious sounding review. I'd love to pick up some of that. It sounds like something that would be worthwhile any time of the year. So my beer is from Rochester Mills Beer Company out of Rochester, Michigan, or Rochester Hills. I can never remember that. Anyway, somewhere up there in Oakland County. Auburn. Well, this actually says the production facility in Auburn Hills, Michigan. There you go. So this is their Orange Whip Milkshake IPA. Ale brewed with milk sugars, orange zest, oranges, and vanilla. 6.5%, 45 IBUs, 16-ounce can here. Featured hops are Citra and Mosaic, and just a little description on the back says this IPA combines citrusy hop flavors of Citra and Mosaic hops with fresh oranges, orange zest, subtly sweet lactose, and a hint of vanilla. So, like I said, beautiful 16-ounce can here wrapped. It's got like a picture of a big juicy orange there behind some like 80s-esque lettering. Just a very attractive looking can. Picked it up at Holiday Market for just a shade over $2.30, so it's pretty affordable. Pours a beautiful hazy orange color, much you would see for all these hazy IPAs. Maybe not the murkiest that we'd ever see of a hazy IPA, but nonetheless, it's a very beautiful beer. So upon first opening and pouring on it, of course, I've been sitting here for a little bit too. The sweet orange and vanilla has been kind of filling the room and now into my nostrils as I pull this glass closer to me. It is. I mean, it is very sweet. I mean, this is like those candied oranges, candies, or anything you see like at a candy store, or even like a bulk store that may have them in like their bulk section there for snacking. But it really, really smells delicious. And you get that hint of vanilla there that you can get that. It just adds that nice creaminess to it. Just very appealing. So let's take a first sip here. Ooh, okay. So you get more of that candied orange, as well as that vanilla. It's a real nice balance. Really, really nice. But on top of all that, you get like this the citrus oils mixing in there. Like, you squeeze that orange peel and you get that little fine mist that comes out of there. You're getting that. It's very, very nice coating to it. It's very, very delicious beer. I was kind of a little. I'll be honest. I was a little apprehensive when I first bought it. For reasons I can't really describe, but but this really turns out to be a good beer. I mean, I don't think I've ever had a milkshake IPA from Rochester Mills. I've had plenty of their milkshake stouts in the past, but this is something. Man, if they keep up the series, I might be seeking out more of it. This is really good. I don't know if any of you guys here in Michigan have had it or any other milkshake series, but man, this is good. I highly recommend it. Holiday Market picked it up in Royal Oak today, so there you go.
Well, yeah, I have had that before, and to me, it was like it tastes like an orange creamsicle. I mean, it was just like I was like, oh my god, this is awesome.
That's another good description.
Like a great
yes,
beer, but it tastes like a creamsicle. So I was like, I'm happy.
Yes, maybe because in the past I've never been a fan of too much of the creamsicles, but. Shoot, now that I'm older, I might be, turning towards the liking of them now. But yeah, this is really good. I really, really like it. So, hats off to Rochester Mills for making especially for a nice cold winter evening. This is very, very enjoyable.
Well, Greg, I have a few comments. Number one, I really enjoyed your review with the citrus oils and the mist. That's just really good descriptors there. So. Kudos for that. It makes me, I'm like salivating, wishing I could try that beer right now. So good review. And secondly, this is my first, holiday season, and not, out of Michigan in, the last 8 years. Now that I'm in Arizona, and I kind of missed. I know the Rochester Mills does the 12 days of milkshake stouts.
Yeah, that came out.
And it's kind of a quirky thing. Not all those are revered by the beer geeks of the world in Michigan. But you know what? I always really enjoyed getting a box of those, and even if not every single one was my favorite, there was always 3 or 4 real gems in that box. And for those of you listening that might not know, Rochester Mills every holiday season they release a 12-pack of 16-ounce cans of milkshake stouts, and they're all different. Weird flavors, there's usually a barrel-aged one. I don't know. You guys can probably chime in on some of the flavors, but a chocolate cheesecake.
Yep.
They have a blueberry pancake that I recommend.
I love the blueberry
that one for
pancake.
like Christmas morning as like a breakfast beer.
People used to make fun of me that I loved that thing, but I used to buy 4-packs of that blueberry pancake when that was out.
Yep.
So yeah, they're kind of adjunct, quirky beers, but some of those I really.
I bet you got a box.
I remember, I think it was last year. I was in one of the beer groups I'm in on Facebook. Somebody knew I lived in Michigan and asked me if I could get some, and I took a picture of a Meyer store that had like 50 cases on an end cap, and like 15 people in the group begged me to get them a 12-pack of these things. I bought like $200 of these things and threw them in the back of my trunk and took a picture. And I was like a hero of that beer group for this thing. And, it was kind of a cool thing and something that I actually kind of missed this year. So maybe next year I'll beg one of you guys to send me a box of those. It's kind of a novelty, but, like I said, there's a couple of real nice hidden gems in those boxes. That's what I think. One of the best things I think of when I think of Rochester Mills. So,
yeah, surprisingly at Holiday Market, at least on the shelf in the singles, the only one available was chocolate milkshake stout. I don't think I ever. I'll take that back. Maybe I did see the barrel aged one, but really, so they must have been doing well this year for selling.
There are beers in that box that only come out just for that. That milkshake, that 12 days of milkshake stout. Some of the flavors are only exclusive to the box, and every year they switch it up a little bit.
Yeah,
it's a kind of special. So, Beer Nuts, I need a Secret Santa next year to send me one of those. That was one of the cool things that I missed from my days in Michigan. But I don't miss the cold weather.
Yeah. Nah. So John, if you really like that stuff, next year I'll get you a case of that. And I'll trade you for a case of the Grand QV that we had from Tombstone last week.
Not an even trade.
I would be willing to do a dollar for dollar swap on that, and I think that would give me 24 beers to 1. But
yeah,
that sounds good.
Maybe one and a half.
Glad to share the fruits of our labor down here as well. All right, and speaking of John, I think that you're up for the grand finale of the night, and then after that, I got a little. Not really surprised, but I just got a little bit of closing theme that I'd like to do. So, John, take it away and introduce your beer.
All right. So what I am drinking tonight is It's by Oddside Ales out of Grand Haven, Michigan. That's over on the other side of the state, the Lake Michigan side, where it's probably about 12 degrees or colder because of the lake effect and all that good stuff. This is it's a IPA that does 7.9% ABV. And according to their description, they say it's a milkshake IPA with vanilla, lactose, and pineapple added. So this is actually, it's a really good beer. It has a very, very soft mouthfeel to it. It has a nice hop presence. And I almost liken it to like a vanilla yogurt with just a little bit of pineapple flavor to it. Obviously watered down a little bit because you can't drink yogurt unless it gets way too warm. But it's really, really good. The pineapple is subtle, but it's present. Well, I got to take a sip here. Yeah, the hops in here are wonderful. They're not overpowering, but they're definitely the star of the show. The lactose just blends kind of very softly into the background. I think it's more contributing to mouthfeel and sweetness. Pineapple is absolutely there, along with maybe a little bit of some peach and a little bit of mango. The beer itself, as far as appearance, it's a nice kind of somewhere in between yellow and straw color. There's definitely a haze to it, but you hold it up to the light and you can see your fingers on the other side of the glass. But it's a really good beer. I would definitely get this again. I know I shared some with Doug. Do you have any comments on it, Doug?
Well, yeah, I would agree with you on the hop aspect of it. The hops are the star of the show, and they did add some bittering hops into this, rather as opposed to a New England style where there's zero bitterness and it's all sort of aromatic and juicy on the hops. So I like that the bitterness is in there. That bitterness really plays well with the pineapple, in my opinion. Pineapple is acidic, and then you add the bitterness to it. It just gives it such nice balance. And, I have to be honest with you with these guys. I was just there a couple weeks ago, had amazing beers, incredible beers, but I've also had some of the worst yuck that I've ever had in my life from these guys. And one of them was one of their earlier milkshake stouts, and it was an orange milkshake stout, or not a stout, but an orange milkshake IPA. And it was like drinking rotten orange juice. It was just so bad. And it was bitter like this one is, but it just had that spoiled orange juice flavor to it, where this is beautiful. That's amazing. I wouldn't have never picked that up based on my first experience. So, I'm happy that you brought this over, because that definitely changes my mind on these guys.
Yeah, and
you're not getting it back.
Yeah, the IPA part of this, it's like, it's not just a milkshake beer, but it's a milkshake IPA, and the IPA part of it actually really comes through. And the milkshake is there in this the really soft mouthfeel, and it's got that sweetness to it. But yeah, the hops and the bitterness, it's an IPA. It's a milkshake. It's not a milkshake IPA. It's a IPA milkshake, and I guess it's the way I would really describe it.
And I don't know if you guys have noticed, if you've checked any of these beers in Untapped, but there's a whole series of milkshake badges now on Untapped. So I think I just hit level 2 with my 8th milkshake beer. Yeah. So it's interesting that the style itself is really gaining a foothold in the beer drinking community, and for good reason. Some of these are really great drinking beers, and fantastic for summer.
Yeah, somebody did the right combo, and they just hit on this like creamsicle thing, and everybody's gaga about it. I'm enjoying this one. Creamsicle seems to be the word I've found now for this pineapple orange smoothie I've got. It's got that orange creamsicle, push-up creamsicle ice cream thing going.
And who doesn't love that?
That's right. That's what I'm trying to say. Everybody loves it. Every kid always wanted one of those.
Well, even if I didn't like it as a kid, now I'm starting to like it as an adult. So even better.
Yeah.
Chase the ice cream truck down and get one of those push-ups,
Till you see the creepy driver, and then you're like, yeah, forget it.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Okay.
Just like Doug.
Oh.
He's not going to give you. He ain't giving your beer back now. Sorry, John.
I've already got it. Come on. Plus,
all right.
That's okay. Doug will hide the other cuvee that he's got. Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't tell him about that, Doug?
Yeah.
What? No, what cuvee? That was the one that broke on the floor. That one.
Mr. Innocent.
Next review, he's going to be outside.
Well, what
Doug's
inside. I do
inside.
have to say about chasing the ice cream truck down now is I bet you we're all way too old and way too fat to actually do that now. We take a couple of steps, wave a $20 bill, and hope he sees us.
That won't
throw a rock.
I'll chase him down.
I don't know. You could probably get on Grubhub and just have him come right to your house.
Can we do that?
ChristopherMedia.net.
All right. Well, everybody seems to be jovial. The milkshake beers are kicking in. That's good. It's the holiday season. So what I would like to do to close out, this is going to be our last episode of 2019. So what I would like to do is kind of go back, have everybody on the broadcast tonight review the year and, throw out any beer memories you had, any beer nuts memories you had. And since I'm kind of springing this last minute on you guys, I'll give you a minute to think about it, and I'll go first. So it's a big year for me, moving from Michigan to Arizona, and I was excited about the move. But now that I'm here, a couple things. I do love the weather, and I'm moving forward and not looking back. But you know what? I never knew how much. Not only would I miss the great beers of Michigan, but all my beer buddies like you guys. So really miss being able to just go up the dugouts with Pete and and meet up. We had some meetups when Greg would show up, and all of us would get together. So I miss that. I miss just the impromptu. Pete coming over on a Wednesday night. Comes over and he looks like he's ready to fall asleep, and then a couple warm up beers in, he's perked right up, and then I worry about him driving home some nights. But kind of goes back to the old beginnings of when we first started this show, and Chris recruited me to do a craft beer podcast where we'd go meet at the studio up in St. Clair Shores. And, it was a harrowing ride home when one of us had to pee, and there might have been a dumpster or two involved. But Pete might remember some of those memories, but we quickly learned that it was better to Skype in from wherever we were, and it's worked out well. So, but looking back in 2019, again, I'll just get back on track. I really enjoyed my last few days in Michigan, being able to, Uncle Pete was a big help with my move, and we got to share a lot of beers, and, miss going up to Doug and Scooters, and being able to, have some great times up there in Broad Acres in Clawson. And then, now that I look back, I'm getting older, so my memory's not so good on the farther back, but couple beer memories I have since I moved here. It's number one, finding Tombstone and being like, holy crap, there's like one brewery worth of crap near me, and it's such a good brewery. I was like very lucky to be like 16 miles from one of the best breweries, probably the best brewery in the state of Arizona. So it was great to have Matt on the show last night and showcase my favorite local brewery here in Arizona. And then more recently, getting to go to California, and in the span of a week, Pete visited us Tucson to visit his folks, and we got to go see a buddy's meadery that had just opened, and got the grand tour of that. That was fun, and then we got to go to Tombstone. I'm really it was really kind of a bummer that Pete couldn't be on the Tombstone episode since he was at the brewery visit, but that was a great day when we got to just go and have a flight of beer there and enjoy Tombstone. And then right after Pete visited, I got to see Steve V in L.A. after he had hosted us at a Dodger game over the summer with me and my son. But, it was great to go to the Stumble Inn in Huntington Beach with my good friend Z. And that was just a really, really one of the most fun Beer Nuts episodes. I think everybody involved in that episode, no matter where you were, had a good time. But certainly it was great to be there with Steve and my buddy Z. Incidentally, Z has expressed a very serious interest in being the hipster tipster from now on. He's in the beer business and is very up on all the trends. So I'm trying to get him to do a little 2-minute snippet every show on the latest industry news. And so look for that next year. That is in the works on the nights that he can't join us. And when he can join us, he'll just join us and be another beer nut. So, and I guess I've probably rambled long enough, which means I got to get another beer. So I'll turn it over to, we're going to just go in the order that we started the show in. And Dugout, that means you're next. So great beer year. The one other thing I wanted to do was have every beer nut just throw out one beer that kind of stood out to them this year. Any random beer that you can think of that kind of stood out in your mind. And I'm going to have to go with that Grand Cru that we tasted last week. I didn't taste it, but I had it at the brewery, and it was phenomenal. All those 5 different stouts going into one beer, and it was great hearing Matt Brown tell us how that beer kind of evolved and became what it is. And Dugout, a great time to turn it over to you since you got to taste it last week. So looking forward to bigger and better things in 2020. And my one last comment is my Christmas gift to all you beer nuts is we're going to get some cards made that we use to promote the show. We used to have those, and they were a big hit, and kind of ran out of cards, and nobody's done anything. But I'm going to run those myself, and that's my gift to all of you. So we'll talk about that later off the air. Merry Christmas. All right, Dugout, you're next on the docket here.
Okay, so 2019 special beer moments. Well, it has to be winning a gold medal in Michigan Homebrew Festival. Woo-hoo. Actually, 2 of them. But yeah, winning a gold medal for the Belgian triple.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well,
scoring a 40. That's a big deal, man. I took home more hardware from both John and I did, and with collaboration beers we took home. So with Michigan State Fair, and I don't know, I got a few medals hanging on my Buddha that wasn't there last year. So I think 4 medals total this year. And that's big news. I mean, uptick in my brewing skills for sure. I think John has helped me in some respects to harness my beer making ability into specific styles as opposed to just going nuts. But I taught him that going nuts has good outcomes as well. And beer, geez, I really would have been on that Junie series until last week. Any of those Junie beers from Transient would have been one of my favorites, but damn, that cuvee from Tombstone just rocked my world. That was crazy awesome, man. So where do we go next? We go to Greg. We're going to Pete next. No, Steve V.
Steve V, yeah. We're going to order show.
Oh, okay. Well, obviously, my, favorite part is the Super Bowl episode where I did my first podcast and got to talk about the Rams. Unfortunately, it wasn't a great ending on that part, but it did introduce me to a lot of great guys here on the podcast and a lot more great beers. And so obviously that was a good start of the year for me. It's like one of those things where it's not work if you enjoy doing what you like doing, and there's nothing better than coming weekly and having tasting great beers and hearing other people drink great beers and learning more and expanding my my knowledge of beer and passing that on to other people. That's like I said, there's few things where you can say you enjoy what you do, and so something like this, like I said, gives you a good opportunity to do stuff like that, and I really appreciate that and appreciate being part of this podcast.
Well, we appreciate having you, and it was pretty cool that you were like our special guest to represent the Rams, and you just never went away. You were a natural fit for the show, and you expressed interest in, and it's great to have somebody from the left coast too. Bring our show a little bit more nationwide audience. So, really thrilled to have you as part of our family now. So, but I would ask you also to identify a beer that maybe stood out to you over the years.
Yeah, it's just like I say, don't feed the strays, 'cause they don't go away, kind of thing. So, probably I would have to say is my Uncle Pete's contribution when he sent me those beers from Maine. I really enjoyed those, and we have a couple.
Good, glad.
Yeah, we have a couple of those that they sell at my place where I go get all my beer, and I buy those all the time, and I pass those out, and I introduce those to new people, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, this is a great beer." So I'd have to say that would be my top. But then I haven't touched in all those other ones from Tombstone, and that one from Tombstone was very good. But like I said, right now I'd have without going over the list of stuff, I would have to say those beers from Maine. Those were delicious.
Oh, especially that Maine dinner, man. Uncle Pete, thank you so much. That was a bucket list knockoff.
You're welcome.
Speaking of Uncle Pete, you are next up.
Yeah, I won't disagree, guys. I'll start with the beer for me of the year, and that was the dinner from Maine Brewing Company. And on the northeast coast, Bissell Brothers and Allagash and Rising Tide and Epiphany and Maine Beer Company and all that. I mean, they're all excellent beers. I loved them all. I probably only have 3 or 4 left out of everything, but the dinner from Maine Brewing was a standout. Most of the beers from Lawson's Finest Liquids I really loved. And it's, really because I can't really get a lot of these beers here, so it's stuff that's out of reach, I guess, just tastes a little better, And maybe that's what it is, Steve. Here you are in L.A., and you're reaching out all the way to Maine for a beer that's knocking your socks off. So, but anyways, my New England trip was probably the highlight of my year. Probably the low light was when JR moved away. I do miss you, buddy, and I miss going over to your place. It was just convenient to have a friend so close by. But nonetheless, I didn't pass up the opportunity to come out to Tucson and see you. So more of that will be coming. And just keep the Grand Crew waiting there. I'll be ready to have some when I arrive.
But I don't have too many left, but I got one with your name on it that I'm not going to drink till you're here to drink.
Well, we know where they come from, so we can go try to find some more. But I just love being on the podcast. I love hanging with you guys. I love brewing. Doug, we've had a couple of times brewing together, and that's always a good time. The beers we make, I'm always happy with. And, this is just a lot of fun. So it's been a good year, 2019, and looking forward to another great year with the Beer Nuts.
Amen. All right. Well, speaking of another beer nut, that was kind of like a stray dog. Greg actually won our Win This Glass, and I met him at the now defunct Lincoln Park Brewery. What was the name of that?
Fourth Street. Yeah.
4th Street Brewery in Lincoln Park. To hand him off his glass, and lo and behold, he's become a regular and a full-fledged Beer Nuts brother. So I think you're on the clock now, and really great to have you in the family.
And it's been a great time here with the Beer Nuts guys. I think this is my second year. I don't even know now what it is, but
I think it's longer than that.
I think it's third. Well, okay, yeah. Time flies when you're having fun. I guess that's the proof in the pudding. So,
Amen.
Sadly, that glass I broke, so I'm really missing that glass. Boy, can we have another win this glass? What's happening with that contest?
Chris isn't here to defend himself.
Yeah, right. It's still ongoing, but I haven't had a lot of beer adventures because it's like this. Throughout the year, most of the time I'm working, but I've with all my visits to Holmes and Ellison, a lot of great breweries around the state, and even going out of state for a little bit. There's some great places, and I've enjoyed, the quick visits that I've been to, and tried some really great beers this year. There's been a lot of great beers, but what comes to mind is, obviously Pete and his dinner beer that we shared, but also that habanero stout. Oh my God, I think it did both of us in that night.
Yeah, for sure.
Suffering hard the next morning, but from trying some super whales, like from Treehouse, from like very green to very hazy. There's so many great things. So many great beers to try in this great country of ours, and you're in great state of Michigan. So, I look forward to keeping that thing going on next year and trying even some more better beers. So great times in 2019 with you guys, and let's keep it going for more years to come.
Will do, but just in closing, one beer that maybe tickled your fancy this year?
Well, yeah, I was trying. I really can't nail one down. Maybe back in I think it was the summer, Holmes put out a key lime sour IPA, their Metaform, that just knocked my socks off. That was the perfect summer beer in my opinion. And then maybe in this, if I go for a colder month beer, like especially recently, maybe the Ellison Gravitational Attraction, I think it is. That's their marshmallow barrel aged stout. That just knocked my socks off as well. So two good ones there. I won't limit to one because I've had a lot. So, but
and Greg, how about the release at Transient?
Yeah,
I randomly ran into you at the Junie release. And
of those Junies, those are all fantastic.
Every beer on tap that day was just amazing.
Yes, sir. It's from Smuckley to Junie Reserve. All those are good. You can't leave. It's so hard to pick one, isn't it? But so
I don't
they
know.
were all good.
I found myself praying to the Bark Lord.
Oh yeah, the Bark Lord. Sure,
Lord's a good one. Another Transient.
Yep.
Well, all right, Greg. Happy holidays, and thanks for that. And we are now down to the newest beer nut. So welcome, John Golden. We heard so much about you before you finally came into the fold, and we hope you will be a regular from this point on. But your reputation precedes you as a great brewer and a great brewing friend to Doug out. So I'll give you the floor.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate that introduction. And I am also known as the Golden Bozo Brewery. If you want to know the origins of that, do a YouTube search for Steve Martin, What I Believe. And there's a thing in there where he talked about Golden Bozos, with my last name being Golden. You can kind of draw the line and figure out what it's actually going on. But so as far as beer nuts, I will have to say I think that this episode and the previous one have been the best episodes of all year, mainly because of the only two I've been involved in.
Bada bing. Golden Bozo.
That is correct. Now, as far as the best beers I've had, I guess first thing I want to say is, hands down, I think the best beer I've had all year is actually something that I brewed myself. It was actually all of my beers have circus somewhat themed names, and I had a beer I brewed. It was a winter spiced beer called the Winter Carnival, named after Winter Carnival at Michigan Tech University, where my son goes.
Go Huskies.
Yeah, go Huskies.
That's my alma mater.
All right, good job. So I brewed this beer, and it's fantastic. I won a gold medal at the Michigan Beer Cup. Is one of my 3 gold medals at the Michigan Beer Cup, along with one I shared with Doug, and the other one Doug and I shared with some of the other people in the KGB Kunin Gilda Brewers Club. That's our homebrew club. And also, Doug and I got a silver a red
Silver.
a red ribbon at the Michigan State Fair.
Yeah, silver in the Michigan State Fair with their Lafroig Scotch.
Yes, we brewed a Scott. Was it the Scottsdale or was it the Baltic Porter?
It was the Baltic Porter.
So we brewed a Baltic Porter, and we put some 10-year-old Lafroig Scotch that had been soaking in wood chips in it.
Ooh, I tasted that.
Wasn't it good?
Oh, Greg had it too. Yeah.
It was awesome.
Oh,
Yeah, so-
man. You guys
So
killing me,
that
Smalls.
was a combination of, like Doug had mentioned earlier. It's like he's kind of just like, yeah, let's just throw whatever crap we can. It's like
No.
throw in the kitchen sink too. And I'm much more of a like I want to brew a certain style, and I look up and say, okay, what malts are going to give me these flavors, and what hops and what yeast, and come up with a very specific recipe. Doug has taught me that that when it doesn't actually work, something gets screwed up along the way, how to wing it and still make it out to be a good beer, which has been very beneficial. He's also helped me improve my brewing technique, although I think I'm still the recipe king as far as he and I go. When we brew together, I come up with the recipes. He makes sure that we wing it when things don't go exactly as planned, and we end up with some really, really good beers. But on a non-homebrew level, I would say my favorite beer that I can think of for the past year was something that you got at the Detroit Fall Beer Festival. It was made by Shorts Brewing, and it was called Nothing at All. It was a Flanders red ale, and it was phenomenal. It was also one of the first beers that I had there, so that maybe has a lot to do with my recollection of how it tasted.
Yeah, when you came in the entrance, they were just to the left, I think.
Yeah, well, actually, that was the first time I met Uncle Pete.
Yeah, I saw you guys there. That's right.
And by the time I saw him, it was I don't remember that much, but I remember it's like
I got pictures.
Yeah, Uncle Pete was there. Your brother was there with you, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. I got pictures of you.
Yep, I got pictures of you too. So
Oh, okay.
you don't publish yours, and I won't publish mine. But yeah, so it's been, like I said, the last 2 episodes that I've been involved in, they've been a lot of fun. I look forward to doing this some more. And Doug and I are going to keep brewing some beers, and hopefully you guys get to taste some of them. And I think we make a pretty good team.
Oh, I'm glad to stir the pot with you guys anytime.
Yeah, and we're really glad to have you, John, and please keep joining us. We enjoy your knowledge and of beer styles and brewing. So just one final note. Our goal for 2020, at least a personal goal of mine, is to get us all together, whether it's at the Great American Beer Festival in Denver or Colorado, or I guess it's in Boulder, actually, or maybe one of the Michigan Beer Festivals. Maybe Steve V and I can cruise out there and to fly out and all be together as a team. But that's the one thing I miss the most is seeing you knuckleheads and drinking with you. So that's going to be a goal for the year. We'll address that at a later time. But you know what?
Let's shoot for the Ypsi Summer Beer Festival.
That's a good one. As long as Scooter agrees to drive me back to downriver, I'll just get a hotel.
inside joke dug out. Knows
Yeah.
up, but,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's big.
I know that. I know that one.
But the Great American Beer Festival would be great, but that involves a lot more people traveling. Maybe Steve V and I can plan that summer trip, because if I'm going to come back to Michigan, it's not going to be in the winter. All right, everybody.
So when is the Denver one? Is that in the winter?
That's in the fall. It's in September or October.
September, I think. Yeah, September.
Yeah, see, I don't want to go to Denver if they don't have any snow.
September 24th through 26th.
I'm the opposite. I don't want to go to Denver when there is snow. So I don't ever want to see snow again in my life.
It takes place October 3rd through 5th.
There you go.
Oh, that was last
2020.
Never mind. Never mind. That was last
we
year.
can talk about it, but again, we'll figure it out. The goal is just to get everybody together, because there's nothing like, it's always fun to get together on Skype and do these shows, and but it's not the same as when we all get together and have a big old powwow. It just is like the best of times. So that's what I'm going to end the show with, and I just want to one final comment. Again, the mantra of our show is we are not a bunch of pretentious beer snobs. We just want to introduce more good people to more good beer. And I'm thankful to have, as my Beer Nuts family, a lot of good people introducing more good people to good beer. So any final comments by anyone? If not, we're going to head to Mexico City.
Let's do it.
So happy holidays, everyone. We're going to take a few weeks off and enjoy time with our families, because we usually record on Wednesdays, and next Wednesday's Christmas, and the following one's New Year's Eve. So by the time we're over our New Year's Eve hangover in a couple weeks, we'll be back in 2020, stronger than ever, with a six-pack of Beer Nuts again, hopefully. So as they say in old Mexico City, A-M-F.
ChristopherMedia.net. ChristopherMedia.net.
If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for listening, and thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.